Attention on deck. You're about to take command. Welcome to the bunker.
Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of The Bunker. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and as you can see, for those of you joining us on YouTube, I am joined by my illustrious co-hosts. First, from this side of the pond, as always, and looking very sharp in his new Washington Commanders hat, Scouse, Andy Lockhart. How are you, brother? Feeling better?
Yeah, feeling better, mate. Yeah, yesterday was a bit grim, but yeah, today not as bad.
We
Uh,
couldn't do it without you, bro. So we delayed it by 24 hours, man. We couldn't. I'm glad we did because we got a shit ton to get into. And looking as hench as ever down in the bottom, no arms needed to be folded today, Jesse. We know how big you are now, brother. Taking Keith Gray's mantle. Jesse Martin, all the way from the United States of America. How are you, bro?
I'm doing great, man. Fantastic. Enjoying the beautiful weather while it lasts.
I know it's still, yeah. We haven't had a weather update from you for the last few episodes.
Uh, it,
You seem to be still having summer over there. What's going on?
it was about 80 degrees today. It's kind of crazy. We're almost getting close to November and it's still freaking warm outside.
Okay, please be like that in January when we come over.
Oh, that's fine.
It's probably gonna be freezing cold here. Look, Scotty Jesus
I'll
is
guarantee.
going. Oh, he's moaning about the weather already. Boys, so we have a lot to talk about today. Obviously, we have a game that the Washington Commanders expectedly won 40-7. Scoring 40 points in the NFL is never easy, no matter who you're playing. A few seasons ago, the Commanders might have just won that game 14-7. Proves how far we've come, boys. Obviously, the big talking point from the weekend's game is Jaden Daniels with a rib injury. We don't know if they're definitely not broken. We're not quite sure what's happened. No one's really said. Jaden's being assessed day to day. Jesse, let's get into the game first. Let's get into the Jaden talk. It wouldn't be Washington if we didn't go a season without having some sort of quarterback, not controversy, but I didn't want to jinx you. I did think last week, I thought, oh, isn't it nice to talk about games when our QB isn't getting injured? I'm glad I didn't say it because you would have come at me today going, it's your fucking fault, Burrows, like you did with Taman last week. But what did you make of what you've seen at the weekend, and what did you make of Jaden's injury?
I still blame Taman for all the injuries, the rest of injuries that we are having.
I blame
So,
Taman for pretty much everything
yeah,
that goes on the planet.
that's pretty. You can't go wrong blaming Taman for anything.
Hmm.
But no, obviously injuries happen, and we've got a bunch of whiners out there. That's why you don't get Jaden to run. No, he's perfectly fine running. Injuries do happen. We have to realize that, and it's unfortunate. And luckily enough that he's not going to be out for an extended period of time. How long is he going to be out? I don't know. I don't expect him to play this week. I don't think he needs to play this week. And it is what it is. I want him to be 100% healthy when he comes back, because we got a rough stretch of games coming up that we really do need him for. And the Bears, although it's an NFC opponent, isn't not this not necessary. We're okay going into the Bears games with Marcus Mariota. But I think there's a slight chance of him playing this weekend. I just don't think it's going to happen. From what I got from Quinn in his press conference. Yeah, it is what it is. You know what? Most players don't play 17 games. Okay, shit happens. I think it's is what it is.
Jesse, just before I get your views on everything that's been going on in the last 24, 48 hours. Jesse, I've been reading some comments literally since we've just started recording, just here on Twitter as well. And I think I mentioned it. I was chatting to Hartley this morning about something completely different, but obviously we got on to Commanders as always. What do you say? There's a lot of people saying they would rather risk him for the Bears game and rest him for the Giants game the week after. A lot of people are out here saying, look, get through the Bears game with him on the field. And I'm like, well, surely you don't want to, you don't want to risk him in any NFL game. If he's not fit and he's not healthy, don't risk him at all. Jesse, what do you say to these tweets that I'm literally reading now saying, a few people saying that even if he's 80%, let's try him on Sunday and let's rest him the week after against, because it's only the New York Giants.
I think those people should put their phones down right now and just never tweet again because they're fucking foolish. Excuse my language. Yeah, no, that's just idiotical. You don't want to put Jaden in a position where he could further injure himself and be out even longer. So yeah, no, we a divisional win, no matter who it's against, is so much more important than a non-divisional win. Period. And I mean, who knows? He might be out for the Giants game, but regardless, you're not going to put someone out there that's not going to be ready to play.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be happy, right, with Mariota coming in for these next two games, right? I mean, I've got
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
From what I
I
saw on
mean,
Sunday, I mean,
listen,
I had to catch up. I wasn't watching the game live, so I was catching up and listening to what you guys were saying, and then I got in and caught up with the rest of the game. But everything that I seen, I mean, like Terry said in his interview, you expect some QBs to come in and the game plan to completely change. In Terry's interview that
yeah,
he done yesterday, he said nothing changed. Everything stayed the
you don't
same.
need to.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. With Mariota, you've got a reliable, good QB2, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Mariota's had a lot of experience in the league, and there's a bunch of correlation between him and Jaden. Is he as talented as Jaden? Absolutely not. Was he as talented as Jaden? No. But the fact of the matter is, he runs the same offense, and that's what he's used to. I mean, basically the same offense that he ran in college, And yeah, his arm isn't as strong. He's not as accurate, but they don't need to change the game plan. And everybody was so upset when that we signed Marcus Mariota. I was probably the only person in in the Washington fan base that thought it was probably a good idea, knowing that we were probably going to draft Jaden Daniels. It makes sense, man. It really does. And he's a veteran, and he's won a lot of games in this league. And he went out on Sunday and proved that he still has a little bit left in the tank. Now, is he going to go out and beat the Bears? I don't know. I would probably say no. The Bears have a really, really good defense, and their offense is really starting to come on. But could he go beat the Giants? Absolutely, I think so. Sure.
I think I could play quarterback and beat the Giants.
You may
Scouse,
be right.
yeah, Scouse. What did you make of the week? And first of all, what did you make of the game? We kind of all sat here last week and we were like, we're going to smoke the Panthers. This isn't going to be a game. You and I both said like 30 to 40 points. You called it last week. I know Jesse was kind of not skeptical. We thought we'd win, but he was a bit more tentative than maybe we were.
I just thought they were going to score on us.
Yeah, I
score a little
thought.
bit more on us.
I mean, I know Hartley was chatting the other day, last week, and he was saying not many teams, hold a team to zero. At one stage, I thought the Panthers weren't even going to get. When I was a little bit like I was behind you guys. I was thinking these guys are never going to score. Scouse, what did you make of what you seen on Sunday for the game? And are your views similar to mine and Jesse about Jaden? There's no point risking him even for this weekend. If you don't have to risk him for the Giants, don't. All right, well, we're now 5-2. If we don't win this weekend, then you go and win a divisional game against the Giants. You go to 6-2, and then you look at the stretch you've got coming up. You've got like the Steelers. But, you should win that again. 7-2, 7-3. So
Steelers are no joke.
They're no joke. But you potentially when you look at it, I'm not as worried as I would have been maybe a couple of seasons ago with what we had at backup QB. We brought in Heineke, and it was the whole Heineke like hive and stuff and everything that went on. Where are you with the whole Jaden thing? Would you risk him for the? And they're saying he's day by day. So would you, if he's potentially says he can go on Sunday, would you start him, or would you say, hang on, let's get you right. Let's reevaluate as we head into the Giants game. And even if you're not right for the Giants game, then we'll rest you for that one as well, and we'll bring you back in 3 weeks. How are you seeing it, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I think if Mariota had a horrible game when he came in, would we all be saying get Jaden back, rush him, etc., because he can't produce shit, Mariota. But he proved everyone wrong. He proved me wrong as well. He started off a bit rough, and then he got into his groove, and he actually tore them apart. So it shows that he can run this offense well, and that means that's why we can afford to rest Jaden for a couple of weeks if we have to, and feel reasonably confident that Mariota can get it done for us. I'm on the boat with you a lot. I think you keep him out, even if it is for a couple of weeks. You misses the Giants game as well. That's fine because Mariota will easily beat the Giants. They're in a disarray at the moment. I mean, I know it's a division game, but and it's important. But I think we're got way too much for them. So, this week, yeah, against a solid defense, we're gonna have to see how good Mariota plays in this game. But I don't think Jaden's ready anyway. I don't think he'd be able to play properly. All he'll need is one hit in his ribs, and he'd be out the game again. Do you know what I mean? So,
Mm.
especially if he's coming back this week where he's day to day, so he's obviously not going to be ready. So, yeah, keep him off a
Mm.
couple of weeks, see how it goes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm the same as you guys. I mean, if he isn't ready to go, then don't go. I mean, this weekend, I mean, geez, I mean, Mariota proved to me that he still can. He moved outside the pocket well, which I thought was really good. Like Terry said in his interview, the game plan didn't really change. We kind of,
That's
yeah,
the
it's
important bit. That's the most important bit. Is that
Mm.
Yeah.
That's gonna
like
that was gonna be kind of
mistake.
my next question, boys. I mean, Jesse, do you think that will our game plan at all as we lead into the now this week? We're going with Mario as our starter. We'll say for all intents and purposes, he's going to start this Sunday. Does our game plan change in any way? Because obviously we've been used to having Jaden back there. Does that affect the way obviously the Bears are gonna come in and want to play against us? I mean, it's got to in some sort of aspects because you're not coming in against, you're not getting the one and number two pick going up against each other. Does much change for you though as we head into Sunday?
No, not very much. I think they'll put some more plays in that Mariota likes that favors him and his style, even though their styles are very similar. I mean, Mariota he doesn't have the gas that he used to have anymore, so he's not nearly as fast as Jaden. So I doubt they'll call some of the run plays or the but I'm sure they'll do a lot of the read option stuff that they do with Jaden. And I think they'll go into when they do their game plan and install for the week that it's not going to be any different. I mean, they don't have to call different plays. I'm sure they'll call more plays that Marietta likes. But and another thing too, I kind of want to touch on is and I think we need to be prepared for is listen. They played a bad defense.
Mm. Very
It,
bad.
I don't. Mariota played very, very well, better than most everybody would have ever expected. I don't think we're going to expect that week in and week out if you have to play for any extended playing time. But I do think that he can keep us competitive. And I think the game plan going in is shouldn't have to change too much, just because
Mm.
I mean they're very similar quarterbacks.
Just looking at the schedule here, boys, in front of me, and it comes back to what you says, Scouse, about maybe benching Jaden for a couple of games. If you look at it now, we've got the Bears this coming weekend, and then we got the Giants the weekend after, and then if you look at it, the Steelers, so you potentially could say you rest him for them 3 games. Then if you look at it, boys, back-to-back divisional games against the Eagles and the Cowboys, it surely would be beneficial to say, hey, let's make sure he is 100% ready to go when we play Philly in week 11. And week 12, we've got the Cowboys. And then you look at it, we've got the Titans and then the bye week. So you'd rather have him then, instead of these 3 games now coming up, you'd rather say, look, if you're not, and Scouse, you know better than anyone here during the industry that you're in, if your ribs, especially playing the NFL, this isn't like
It is. It
this
is,
is
man.
this
Yeah.
isn't an easy game to play at the best of times. So no less when you've got bad ribs. But would you boys rather see him rested for these potentially 3 games and then come back for the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Titans?
I think it depends on how Mariota does against
Because
Chicago.
if Mariota stinks up the joint on Sunday, and we hope he doesn't, does that add more pressure that we'd want to get
Then you
Jaden
might
back
want,
quicker?
yeah. Then you might want to because then you're 5-3. Philly is going in. It depends on the Philly wins too because I think everybody in the division has a hard game this week.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely no gimmies. So I think the circumstances, but you know, you also got to look at it too, man. We're not out to win the Super Bowl this year. This is about the future of our team, and I think it's you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you go for it? Do you rush him back just a little bit, to go get that uber important divisional game, or do you wait a week? I don't think I don't think Jaden's going to be out regardless more than the Giants game. I think he's probably going to be back on the Giants game regardless of what happens.
Yeah, I tend to agree. But I mean, if you look at if you can win them divisional games, you've kind of got 1 foot already in the. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say we're going to be playing meaningful football in January. Then you're kind of, Jesse, I'm with you. I'd love to be on the mic train and say we're going to go to the Super Bowl. We're not, but to play a playoff game in January, there you've got to be in it to do something. Could we be a surprise package? I think if we get in, we could surprise a hell of a lot of teams if we can keep everyone
I don't
healthy.
think there's a team. I don't think there's a team in the NFC that would want to play us right now in the playoffs. If the playoffs started today and Jaden was fully healthy, there is not a team in the NFC that would want to play us right now because of how good this offense is.
Let's look at the game then, boys. I mean, obviously, Mariota was 18 for 23, 205 yards, 2 TDs. Terry again, 6 receptions, 98 yards. Zach Gertz chipped in with a TD. Sinnott, Scouse, chipping in with a TD. What did we make of that at the weekend?
It was nice, man. It was nice to see a new face getting on the score sheet, So, yeah, man, it's nice to see him. His very first ever catch as well, by the way.
Yeah,
touchdown. So,
yeah, it was good. Jesse, good to see, right? Sinnott getting on
absolutely
on something I didn't think I'd maybe not see this season.
He's our future tight end. Do
you think we see more tight end sets this weekend, Jesse, with Mariota under center?
Could it be a potential? We've been seeing a lot of tight end sets anyways.
Do we see even more though? Do you think with his not limited ability, because he proved at the weekend he is still a very good quarterback. Do we kind of get Sinnott involved more? Do we see more tight? Don't want to say dink and dunk because there was a lot of that. He went through his reads and there was a lot of I'll just check it down 8 yards. He done what he had to do. Move the ball, move the ball. And when he needed the big plays, they were there. But do you think come this weekend that's the kind of way we might go?
It's probably not. I don't think the game plan is going to, change that much, to be honest with you. It's probably going to be, I mean, we run a lot of 12 personnel, 13 personnel. I'm sure there's always multiple tight ends on there. Now, there could be Mariota may favor going to the tight end, with his reads. That's kind of on Mariota himself. But I think we played a lot of tight ends, heavy tight end sets earlier in the year because they were unsure about how this offensive line was going to go. But this offensive line has done so damn well. Scouse, even Wiley.
Yeah, just let's see what he does against our boy, our ex-boy this weekend. Let's talk about that first.
He's gonna be perfectly fine.
22 minutes we lasted. 22
minutes. Taking on. Let's see Tez up against them. Let's see how good Wiley is then against the natural real pass.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Tez hasn't done nothing all year, but there hasn't been such a need for tight ends to stay in. So yeah, you could see more tight ends running routes, and Mariota just might go to him. Jaden doesn't necessarily.
I don't think a hell of a lot more work this weekend. B-Rob could see a hell of a lot of the ball this weekend, more than most weekends.
Sure, it's all on how Cliff designs the game plan for the Chicago Bears. It's gonna change, vary from week to week to who you play.
What did you guys make of the defense? Obviously, Louvre coming in with a sack, Fowler Jr. with a sack. I mean, again, it's the Panthers, and I'm not here to discredit them, but we done what we had to do, didn't we? I mean, this in the past, this might have been a trap game, Scouse. We pretty much went in and done. It wasn't a hard game. It was, very often in the NFL, do you get where you sit back and you think, Jesus, this is easy. But I think even if Jaden was in, this would have been another one, Scouse. He probably would have been pulled halfway through the third quarter, right?
Yeah, definitely. I thought it would be a harder game, to be fair. Like there's never normally easy games in the NFL, but
not this easy.
This was, yeah, exactly. Not this, and it kind of felt like it was a college team against an NFL team. It kind of felt that way.
This had first
we did what we should have done.
preseason. This had first game preseason vibes to it at one point, and you're
Yeah,
thinking this
yeah.
is ridiculously easy. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a Panther. We've all been there. Hey, look, we're Washington fans.
I know, yeah, we've had 30 years of that pain. Do you know what I mean? So
they're only recently having to go, not recently having to go through it, but yeah, to be a Panthers fan right now. But yeah, I mean, it was ridiculously easy. But it was. Do you think it was good to see a Commanders team put this amount of points up? Because, like I said at the start of the show, if this was last season or the season before, and you're like, well, this is an easy win, we probably would have won 14-7. Scouts, does this just prove how far this team and this organization have come?
Oh, massively. I mean, and we did it with our backup quarterback as well. So again, it's even more impressive. The offense is absolutely flying. I mean, what Cliff's got cooking at the moment is unreal. It really is. He's making average players look world class, i.e. Wiley. Do you know what I mean? Like he's making these guys look like a hell of a lot better players than we've ever seen them before. I've not seen Wiley play at this level for a lot ever. Even when he was at Kansas, he wasn't this good. You know what I mean? So. And that's obviously down to coaching as well. It's going to be down to the coaches and also Cliff's style of play.
Jesse, did he just praise Wiley?
Hey,
I think he did.
When he's doing well, I'll give him his flowers.
I'm just saying.
I want to see him against a top quality.
Hell has frozen over.
I think I need to quickly. How do we check it?
Jersey incoming. Wiley jersey incoming.
Are you allowed to Google? Has hell frozen over? Scouts just praised Wiley. Jeez, I never thought.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back to defense real quick, though.
Go for it.
Like, look, say what you want about the Carolina Panthers. Their defense was awful, but their offense, on the other hand, is not that awful. They can score points, and they were rated in the top half of the league in pretty much every statistical category. And they have a killer running back by the name of Chuba Hubbard. And the first play or the first drive, they were driving down the field. But I think what helped our defense and gave them a shit ton of confidence was the pick. And from that play on, Washington, their defense stepped up. They didn't let Chuba Hubbard get going. Even Emmanuel Forbes, he had a freaking interception, man. Shout out to Emmanuel Forbes. Giving him some confidence for doing that too, hopefully.
Fowler had a game as well.
Frankie Louvu, man. Frankie Louvu is an absolute. I think he was our best signing of the offseason right there. Is Frankie Louvu.
There's always that one surprise player that everyone goes, fucking didn't see that coming. And Louvu, I reckon, is it this year.
He's an absolute animal. And not only the defense, our special teams, like they're headhunting. Like every time, I heard from our third string running back, McNichols. He was getting an interview, and I think it was on the Grant and Danny show. And he says that every time they go on special teams, they want to set that tone for either the offense or the defense, whoever's about to come on the field. And they go and they go hard and they go and hit and they want to take someone's head off. And you actually see that on the field. And we haven't seen that. And that kind of, when you see a special team, when you see a big hit like that will kind of bleed off to the next team that's going, when they see something like that happen. And you're seeing this take place on the field. And I think maybe week by week, hopefully our defense is getting a little bit better. I was surprised that we held the Panthers running game to not much at all. I mean, I think they had 170 total yards, I think the whole entire game, something like that. So yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction because they weren't an awful offense.
It's easier.
They weren't great, but they weren't awful.
It's easier though when you're like 2 or 3 scores up and then they've got to abandon the run game, especially if they're like they were churning the ball up, Chuba Hubbard all season's been like top 5 running back, and obviously when you're 2 or 3 scores down, you can't really use that, you know what I mean? Because you got to throw the ball, so which helped our defense again,
I mean, that was the key to the game for me. I said it on the Bleeding Bernie podcast. Do not let Carolina stay in there. Because if they establish a run game, they're going to be able to keep the ball out of Jaden's hands. And sure enough, I think that first that pick six really deflated the Panthers because I mean, we all saw it. They were moving the ball that first drive until the interception.
Mm. Boys, just another few little bits of news just before we started recording today. Number 19 overall pick from 2021, Jamin Davis, no longer a Washington Commander, released from the organization today. Jesse, what did you make of that?
Well, I thought it was going to be in the beginning of the season after training camp was over with, so I'm 7 weeks late on that. Kind of saw it coming. I truly believe they were trying to trade him, and and that's why they didn't really play him that much, and they couldn't get a deal done. And we don't have a first round pick on this team in the past 5 years. I think Deron Payne is the only first round pick we have on this team that we picked. That's saying something.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it,
Allen was a first rounder away.
yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah,
Nicky,
but he was drafted before Payne.
yeah, I
The year
mean,
before Payne.
Nicky tweeted out earlier. If you look at Washington's first round picks from 2019 to 2022, Dotson traded, Davis cut, Chase Young traded, Haskins cut, Montez Sweat traded. I mean, Jesus, yeah.
Martin Mayhem at his best.
And he's still in the building. Just
Mhm.
saying. Scouts, what did you make of Jamin getting released today?
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because he has got some, very nice athletic attributes. But yeah, he's obviously not. He's not learned enough. He hasn't improved enough, and he's just not good enough to be in our team. So, unlucky. But again, see where he goes, and knowing him, he'll probably produce somewhere else and make us look foolish again for cutting him.
Who we bringing in then, boys? Because obviously it opens up a slot on the 53.
I think that is it. Is it McGee? Is he the guy who's available now? Is it?
Well, we already had a spot open on the 53. Actually, we only had 52 players. And we did sign a safety and somebody else. I can't think of
wasn't tracking.
yeah, something like that, like
Practice squad.
Mikhail or something like that. I know because there was 4 different roster moves that happened today, but I think there's still a roster spot that's open. And I still think that I have a feeling we're going to bring in Zadarius Smith.
Okay. Yeah, obviously Jamin Davis was released. We signed safety, was it Ben Nickel, wide receiver
Yeah, that's
Michael
it.
Stratton to the practice squad, and released Redwine from the practice squad.
Yeah, I don't know why we're bringing in another it's on another safety. That's I don't know. That's just that sense.
Who would you
That's
like?
Forrest going, mate. That's Forrest is going. Like you
Yeah,
go.
maybe.
Someone it was that who put that? Someone put that in our group chat earlier saying that Forrest
I
could
think-
be.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
called it. Again, another 6-7 weeks ago. You thought he was going as well. So
he hasn't been playing. He's had only a few snaps and some special team snaps. So I don't. This coaching staff doesn't favor him whatsoever.
Doesn't anyone that seems to be involved with the Ron Rivera era? You're fucking dead man walking. You are out, mate. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Boys, let's get into some fan questions that people tweeted us yesterday. Christian, Jesse, you can take this one, bro. He says there's a long way to go, but is it likely that, say, the Commanders can get 11 to 12 wins, that many franchises will offer Kingsbury a head coaching role?
Likely, yeah. But I don't think Kingsbury is going to take it. I think he's going to want to try to see this out for at least another year or two with Jaden. I think he's happy where he's at, listening to Zach Ertz and him coming out and saying that he's never seen Cliff this happy and engaged. Some people are just better suited to be coordinators and not in charge of the whole show. So, yeah, I'm sure he'll take an interview or two, but I don't see him going anywhere, and for at least another year.
Scouse, I'm kind of with Jesse on that. I mean, I think he'll want to get a body of work behind him, and it sounds really cliche. Oh, but this is a project, but it is. You know what I mean? With what's going on, and if you think that how well we drafted this year, And if you look into the future and you can see what we potentially could do next season and the season after that, why would you want to leave? Because we have got the makings, knock on wood, of a great organization and a great team being formed here. Why would you want to go?
Well, yeah, I mean, it all depends on how much, how ambitious he is, really. As you mentioned already, he's doing crazy things with our offense. This offense was a joke last year. Let's face it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's made it into like a very scary offense very quickly. So, um, and that's what he was known for in college. All this, et cetera, and hence why he got the job at Arizona originally. And he did okay there, but yeah, okay, ended in 3 years. Learned a lot from his year off, and then he's back with us now at the moment, and he's doing really well. Um, it all depends if that's what he wants. Actually, as Jesse mentioned, does he just like being a coordinator and just concentrating on one thing rather than 4 or 5 different things that you got to do as a head coach? If he wants that stress and strain again, then he might try and take another job, especially if a team he really wants to be head coach of is available. Like Dallas, for example, that could be up available next season.
Is
That'd
it
be
very
interesting.
hard to
But
do you say no to head coaching jobs in the NFL? Because say for argument's sake, right?
Kingsfield always get another chance, though. I think that's the thing. He'd
That's
always
the
get another chance. It's like
yeah.
Ben Johnson. He'd get another chance even though he's turned them down. You know what I mean?
Say he turns down the Cowboys at the end of the season. No, I want to stay in Washington. And then for whatever bloody reason, we don't have a great season next year, and then everyone, we not stink the joint out, and it's just swings. And this is literally just me being hypothetical here, Jesse Scouse. He stinks up the joint next year. Does the head coaching merry-go-round pass him by? I guess what I'm trying to say is it very difficult to say no to a head coaching role in the NFL because they are few and far between.
I'm sure they have, but if he is confident in himself, he should know that there'll be chances down the road.
Yeah,
I
back your
mean,
own ability, I suppose. Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
a lack for money. I mean, he's still getting paid by the freaking Cardinals right now for the extension that they gave him. So, I think I don't know. I just don't see him going anywhere after this year. I don't
Imagine
see it.
leaving one job or going to another, boys, and going, oh, I'm just still getting money from my old
Two
employer, is it?
jobs, yeah, 2 jobs ago.
Isn't it? Yeah. Football's a fucking sports a
Yeah,
fucking
man.
crazy sport is a crazy world.
I mean, he has got some.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think money does talk, though. It's like anything. If someone says to you, "I'm gonna double your wages,"
but
you
if
gonna
he's
turn it
if he
down?
absolutely on the flip side of what I've just said, if he absolutely sets the world alight for the rest of this season, say we have a great run and we make the playoffs and we maybe win one playoff game and we narrowly lose out the next week, and everyone's looking at the Commanders for the right reasons, is it then that you know people come knocking and they chuck so many zeros at him that he can't say no, Scouse?
It's definitely an option, isn't it? I mean, Jerry's got a lot of money. Just saying, he's got a lot of money.
Would you want to go
Um,
to that dumpster fire
I
though?
wouldn't want to go there either personally. I can't stand him, but at the end of the day, he's got no true loyalty to us, has he? He's been here one season, and I say money's money. And Dallas is America's team, and they have 120,000 people there every goddamn week. It's still a massive franchise, So,
Yeah,
um, but I
Yeah.
mean, for me, I say it's all about what he wants. I mean, if he's happy where he's at, and as Jesse mentioned, Erta said that he's very happy. He's never seen him like this. How actually less stress he's got on his back at the moment. Yeah, he might want to keep it out here a couple of years. He might want to stick it out even further, 2, 3 years. I think he's got a 2-year deal at the moment. Is that right?
correct. Yep,
3 years.
So
two
yeah,
years.
so
Yeah,
2 years.
Yeah,
So
3 year
he
deal.
probably played that out.
3 years. Is it 3 year deal?
Is it a
3 year
3 year
deal.
deal?
Yep.
3 year deal.
So that might be when that's the time it feels like it's time for me to go. The 3 years maybe,
Either
but
that or we set the world alight
That
next season and he renegotiates already.
that was the
oh yeah,
reason. That was the actual reason why he left. He didn't sign with Las Vegas is because they were only offering a 2 year deal, and we came in with a 3 year deal. So
He's getting
oh,
paid
really?
either
Is that
way,
the only
boys.
difference? All right.
He's getting
I
paid
thought, I
either
thought it
way.
was the money. I thought it was still
Yeah.
pure money, Adam. Instead, they come
Oh,
here instead.
the funny.
Yeah.
Next question comes in from Ten Shits, Scotty Hartley. If you don't know why we call him Ten Shits, just tweet him and ask him. Jesse,
he was no shits week
yeah,
2.
he was struggling to shit week 2.
Partly C concept.
Yeah, God, we didn't see him for the first few hours in the Airbnb. That's a whole different story. Hartley would like to know, Jesse, this question is directly for you. Does Jesse
Okay.
want to row back on his hot take that we have the worst defense in the league?
It's probably like third worst, fourth worst. I was actually looking at I was looking at some numbers.
Like
Ben
me with Wiley,
Baldwin.
isn't he? Like me with Wiley. You can't just say it like we're playing well at the moment.
Yeah,
Well,
what is,
I gave them I gave them their props yesterday, and I gave them their props today. Um, but I was looking at some numbers, and we went up. We went from 31 to 29 in on Ben Baldwin's EPA defensive uh, expected points added or whatever. Much smarter people figure those numbers in than all of us. But yeah, we're ticking upwards. We're ticking upwards.
you know,
I
do
I
you
still
think we're changing the narrative on both sides of the ball this season, Jesse? Because I think we are.
I still think we're going to have issues against good teams. I
We
think
have had
we're
issues against good teams as well. If we're being
yeah,
honest, Jesse, to agree with you there, mate, we have had issues against the 2 good teams that we played this season, albeit the
yeah.
one was the first game of the season.
Well, 3 teams. I mean, don't forget
Bengals.
Cincinnati. I mean,
Hmm.
they were
They torched
right
that.
there with us. They got to do whatever they did whatever they wanted on us. We just we were just a hair better than them that day on the defensive side of the ball and got a stop. Or McPherson uh uh
Missed the field goal.
missed a field goal. So it's this week is going to be really interesting, and maybe it could change my narrative because I think the Chicago Bears offense is really, really good. And now that Caleb is starting to really come on his own. I mean, do you remember what DJ Moore did to us last year?
Oh,
200 and some
still
odd
having
yards,
nightmares about that.
2 touchdowns. And not only is DJ Moore there, but they got Rona Doomsday. They got freaking Keenan Allen. And let's not forget DeAndre Swift, who's been killing it the past couple of weeks.
And we've got good tight ends as well.
Yeah,
Really
so it's going to be interesting to say the least.
Mm. Well,
and they got a top 5 defense as well. So
Yeah.
this team
Well, that
is
was
It's a tough
kinda-
team. It's
that
going
was
to be a
kind of
tough out.
Scotty.
a hard game. This one,
Scotty's second question was, boys, how do we beat the Bears this weekend?
I think we've got to do what we have been doing. We've got to get up early in the game. We've got to be 1 or 2 scores up, make them abandon the run game, make them throw it all the time, make what's his name, quarterback Williams to throw hero ball, and that's what we need to make him do. And we need to, and when we get the chances, we need to pick them off.
I watched the
That's
game
what
against
we've got.
Tennessee when the Bears played Tennessee, and he tried to play hero ball, and he did get picked off 3 times.
Yeah.
So if we can get to him, and if this defense can step up again and play well, I mean, I think they've played okay this season. But if they can, this potentially could be the game where everyone turns their head and go, "Oh, this defense isn't actually that bad." I mean, Jesse might get a few more questions fired at him for next week's episode. If this defense, I'm sure he'd gladly take them. If this defense
Gladly
can
take
step up, I generally think that Marcus Mariota can do a job. But I also think that our defense could win us this game.
I think to win this game, all we got to do to win this game, you're gonna have to shoot Jaden up with some numbing agent for him.
No, yeah. Ask
They're no needles, mate.
ask Kevin Seymour. He knows all about the. He might have a few left lying around in the change room. So those that don't know,
I mean,
Kevin Seymour was suspended
I
for
think
6 games today.
the start the way to beat them is the way we have been beating other teams. Say get up early in the game, 2 scores up, make them throw the ball, make them abandon the run game, make them one-dimensional. Defense
don't take your foot off the throat.
Yeah, and when you get the
keep going.
chances, you got to hit the turnover. You got to make those turnovers. You got to get 2-3 turnovers in this game if you want to win. And yeah, is it doable? Yes.
We're just
Be tough.
we're going to be on total opposite spectrums, from what we played last week. The defense that Marcus, Mariota torched last week to the defense that we're playing Chicago Bears. So we do got to keep that in mind. It's a night and day difference.
Yeah. Scouse, Jesse's had a question, so it's only fair that your nemesis Scotty G has sent you one in, bro.
Oh, Scott G. Okay.
Can Scouse
Scott
explain?
G string. Yeah.
Scott G string has got Scotty G string has got a question for you, Scouse. Can Scouse explain why, if Jeff did what Marcus did, he would likely be saying how he was right about him being QB2, but since it was Marcus Mariota, he downplays what he did and says it's just Carolina.
Hey, I did what you mean, man. I mean,
He's your nemesis. He's like your.
he used to be Jesse's nemesis. Now he's his
He's
best.
everybody's
I don't know what happened
nemesis.
here. I don't know what's happened here. I don't know how it's changed so quick, but no. But the thing is, like when you see players and you see them over the years, you know what they're about. You know the difference is, when you see him throw the ball when he was at his other teams, Titans and all the rest of it, he wasn't accurate at all. Now, obviously, in last week, he did play well. He started off rough, like I mentioned earlier, but that's obviously he's not had the snaps with the team. And then then he torched them the rest of the game. And fair play to him, I've got to say, yeah, you play really well, fella. You know, but you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get the Mariota who goes the messed up handoffs and fall over. You know, like we've seen in preseason, we've seen these things happen. We're going to get that against.
There were a couple of run plays as well on Sunday, weren't there? Yeah, there was a couple of run plays on Sunday when he got found out.
You're talking about a guy that hasn't had many snaps, though. I mean, Mariota's won a lot of games in this
I
league.
like Mariota. I think he'll do a job for us.
The thing is, though, the difference is the expectations, isn't it? I mean, why isn't to answer his question of if Driscoll did what Mariota did, I'd be saying Driscoll's awesome and all this crap. But the thing is, though, is that Driscoll has been a nobody sitting on the couch. You know, Mariota's been the number 2 overall pick. He's been a Heisman Trophy winner. He's been all this. You see what I mean?
He's been to AFC Championship game too.
You expect more. You expect more from a guy like that. You see what I mean? So you expect them to pull off these type of performances, even though you're thinking, well, you are the backup for a reason. You know, I think it's what it is. It's kind of like that's what I'm looking for. Maybe some slight biases in like, well, you've seen where you've come from type thing. You know what I mean? And then kind of thinking. You should be.
So the long and wind of it, you've just said to Scotty G, "Go fuck yourself." I'm right.
Yeah, to a certain extent, yeah.
He's not though. He's not right.
See what I done there, Jesse. See, I want a little bit of clickbait. I want a bit of clickbait there. Yeah. Good old Scotty G. BB Barnes would like to know, Jesse. This is actually an interesting question. Jaden's rib injury looks like the same spot he took the helmet hit on week 1. When he got the wind knocked out of him. We were there. I think it was week 2 when he went off the field. So yeah, week 2 when he went off the field. He's asking, do you think there's something in it? Could he potentially have been playing with an injury since week 2? We all gasped, like we were all sitting in the stadium week 2 when he went off, and we were like, please.
No, I don't believe that at all. I think he got a knee right in the left side of his rib cage. It shows on the video. I think when he got hit, he just got the air knocked out of him. I don't think it's the same.
I mean, a lot of people are saying he didn't get it on that run play on the weekend. He just flipped straight back up, and you wouldn't think anything was wrong with him. But
your adrenaline's pumping at that time.
Yeah, too, and everyone was like, "Well, if he had slid properly, he wouldn't have got hurt." And but you know,
there's no way for him to slide. I mean, he was.
Beat me to it, Jesse.
Yeah, beat me to it.
Yeah. He got flipped on his head, didn't he?
Beat me to, he got flipped upside down, yeah. He's like his arse was in the air at one point.
That's a twist of his rib cage up. It was that. It wasn't like another guy hitting him. You know what I mean? It was him landing.
I think he got a knee, or one of the Carolina's knee when they were rolling over.
I like the way his mum tweeted. He's okay. He's okay. His mum to the rescue. Randy Watson would like to know, simple question, boys. Why are we so freaking good this early on in a rebuild?
It's got to be asked the coaching.
Coaching
Adam Peters.
I don't want to jinx it because everyone start tweeting.
Finding the right quarterback does that to you. I mean, look at the Houston Texans last year. They found C.J. Stroud. And once you have a quarterback, it's what I've been saying on these podcasts for the past 3 years. You're not going to win games unless you have a quarterback. When you find a quarterback, you will win games.
I mean, Stroud's been struggling this year as well, hasn't he? A few games. Last week he played pretty poorly.
The passing attack hasn't been as good.
Which it was shocking, really. It shocked me, that.
Let's finish this episode off with our Washington win if scenario. Scouse. Washington win this weekend if.
if Caleb gives us 2 turnovers.
Oh, 2 turnovers. Okay, Jesse, Washington win this
Uh,
weekend. If
the defense has to stop DeAndre Swift. I'm not necessarily convinced that's going to happen, and Marcus doesn't turn the ball over.
For me, Washington win this weekend if the team send the jet over, get me, Scouse and Hartley, and get us to the stadium. Simple, easy. No, all joking aside, I think the defense need to really step up this weekend. I think we're going to run the ball a hell of a lot more than we run it a lot, but I think B-Rob's going to see a hell of a lot of the ball. I think we're everyone's going to have to be on that. No one can have a day off on Sunday. I don't think any side of the ball, and that sounds easy to say, but that's from special teams, that from offense, from defense. No one can have a day off on Sunday. If we're on it and we're really on it, and this defense really want to step up and shut a few people up, which I think they have been doing, and I think they have been getting better as the season's been going along. This could be a standout game for this Commanders team to say, look, yep, our star guy, he's sitting on the sidelines with his street clothes on, but we can still potentially compete and we can still win a game. Is it going to be difficult? Yes. Is it achievable? Very much so. I'm with Scouse. You know what I mean? We could have to force a couple of turnovers. This defense are really going to have to step up. The run game's going to have to be on point. He won't get away with some of the things he got away with on Sunday. You know what I mean? He ain't going to be able to run outside the pocket like he did on Sunday because he'll get absolutely
Tez will chase him
killed.
down.
Yeah, he'll be killed and he'll be out the game and we'll be down to our third string quarterback, the good-looking chap that all the women are crowing over.
Driscoll, boy.
Your guy Driscoll. Yeah, sorry, man. Scotty G will be tweeting us. But yeah, boys, I think we've got a chance this weekend. I think
Not a chance.
as long as we're competitive, we're going to be competitive. I think we'll be in it. I don't think this is the Commanders team of old. I don't think we'll completely fold. It's not going to be one of those by halftime where we're thinking we're out of this game. This game's done.
It'd be nice to get a win, and people can stop shutting up about stop talking about, oh, we've only beat teams with no more than one win on their record at that time. And that's true. It is true that we haven't beat a team that has any more than one win on their record.
And I just want to shut the Bears fans up as well. Shut these fuckers up, man.
Well, it's going to change
those wins,
schedule now, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But those wins, we did what you're supposed to do to bad teams. We've crushed them. Crushed this team coming in to Northwest Stadium on Sunday. It's not a bad team. This is a good team. They're 4-2. And
where are their weaknesses, do you think, Jesse? Where can we get to them on Sunday? What's their weakness?
Getting to Caleb Williams.
I watched the Tennessee game. They kept getting to him and getting to him and getting to him. And then when they forced him outside the pocket, that Tennessee game that I watched, he did try and play hero ball. And he did because he thought, I think
he knows he can do it.
I think he
in college and saying
I think he's
very good at hero ball. He's good at hero ball.
But this is the NFL. This isn't college football. You're coming up against
somebody. He found it out, didn't he? Was it the Titans? There were 3 interceptions.
Yeah, honestly, 3 interceptions in like I think it was about 4 series plays. I remember I was texting you guys because I was watching that game. I can't remember what game you guys were watching. I had it on the Game Pass.
They still won that game though, right?
Their defense won them that game. They didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Their defense won that game for them. You know what I mean? So Caleb didn't.
Their defense is damn good. They're good enough to bail them out.
Their defense won that game. He didn't score a touchdown, and he did have to play hero ball. And I think if we can potentially get him doing that, and if we can get him outside the pocket, get him worried, and if we can
get him one-dimensional.
Yeah, there you go.
Make it all on Caleb hero ball game. And then our guys have got to pick him off when we get the chance. That's it.
We do. Boys, we've come to the end of another episode, nearly hitting 11 p.m. over here in the UK. Scouts, I'm glad you made it through the episode, bro. I'm glad you're feeling better. Jesse, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. I'm glad to see you looking so hench and beefcaked these days. Look at him, fucking fine figure of a man. We'll do this all again next week. Just before we go, let's get some really quick score predictions then. Scouts, what's the score going to be Sunday?
I think we lose 24-21.
Jesse, what's the score Sunday?
That's nearly my prediction. I'll go 26-23.
I think we win 26-21. The Kool-Aid. Where's my Kool-Aid, Scotty? I've got my Kool-Aid around
here. Them burgundy colored glasses off there, Bubba.
No. I never leave home without them, Jesse. You should know that about me by now. One step closer to being on a plane in January with Scouse and Scotty. But boys, this has been another episode of The Bunker. Make sure you can go and check us out on X. at Commander Bunker. You can find us on YouTube. Just type in the Bunker Podcast and you can find all our content on there. It's available on Apple and Spotify as well. But boys, we will do this all again next week. This has been another episode of The Bunker. I've been your host, Andy Burrows, with the amazing Jesse Martin and Scouse Andy Lockhart himself. Till next time, everybody. Bunker down. Stay safe.